Welcome back, everybody. It's vest day. I'm kind of nervous about this one because I don't have a great track record for drafting patterns that work correctly when they're done. So basically today the process is going to be draft a pattern based on a vague neckline, then hopefully cut a pattern that somewhat resembles that out of the actual fashion fabric. I've been doing a little research on what Hobbit vests look like, and it seems like they have, oh, you know what? I already did a video of me talking about this. Never mind. So last night I was looking at some screen grabs from Fellowship when they're all at that birthday party, and there were three main designs. There was this one that has, man, my phone is casting a big shadow right there. Maybe here's a better place to do this. I don't know. It all feels bad. This one has kind of a little like keyhole and a little bow, which is really cute, but feels like more work than I actually want to do for this. And then there was this kind that had like a low cut with some kind of fabric in the middle. And then this one, which is the one that I liked the most and will probably do, hence why it's so big, that had a middle panel and then different fabric for the outside. They all kind of had this like middle panel featuring some like more fancy fabric and then the kind of rest of it being sort of plain. So I'm thinking that's probably what I'll do for this little hobbity outfit. And also the binding is dark, like there's like dark binding here on the outside of this panel and then all around the neck and the sleeves and the bottom too. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do for that. But in the meantime, I was going to use that paisley fabric for the whole thing, and now I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I might be better off doing it, well, I think I might be more true to the costume design for the film if I stick to a plainer fabric for the outside parts and then do the kind of like fashion fabric, fancy fabric in the middle. So we're gonna see if there's anything in the fabric box that can work for that. So here, just a reminder, is that fabric that I was going to use. This is just the pillowcase, and I honestly don't think I'll have to use that big sheet for it, so who knows what we're going to do with that one. But for now, pillowcase is being used for this. And then I went and found these two other fabrics. This one is like very matchy-matchy, but that kind of is in keeping with the Hobbit thing. It's sort of like this fake suede, and I don't know. It's kind of weird, but there's only a little bit of it, and like what else are you going to use this weird fabric for? I don't know. So I originally bought it to make a little tiny blackout curtain for the window in our room, and I did that, and now there's this left over, so maybe I'll use it for this and kind of get it used up. Then there's also this wool. I think it's a wool blend. My mom bought it to make a skirt, and she never made the skirt, but she gave me the pattern and the fabric. Oh. She gave me the pattern and the fabric, and I, to be honest, am not in the habit of making short, structured skirts with very little give to them. I like my clothes a bit flouncier. And I don't know what else I'm going to use this wool for. So, I don't know. Don't hate me, Mom, but I might use it for this Hobbit costume. Oh, you know what? I actually just had a great idea. I think I'm going to use this for the other part of it because it just matches really well. And if you go and look at the movie, they all kind of have, there's like a color scheme happening with the outfit. So I think I might use this for that. But I could use this for the binding around the edges. Maybe. We'll see how we feel about that. But I think that'd be a nice little contrast. It might be too cool toned. I might want something a little bit warmer. I do have that linen that I made the pocket out of, so I can use that if push comes to shove. But that's an idea for something I might be able to use a little bit of this for. I didn't end up using that gray fabric because I discovered that it perfectly matches my couch, and I think that's hilarious, and I want to make a camouflage couch outfit. So, yeah. So the first thing I did was trace out a tank top that had a big wide neckline like I wanted for this vest. To trace the back, I made sure that the arm's eyes started at the same height. I made the straps a little shorter, and I made the back higher as well. This line I'm drawing now is to bring in the arm's eye a little bit. As you'll see in a second, I didn't cut it there, and I really should have, because I actually went back and cut it deeper like 3 more times after that. So I wanted a nice, open, deep arm's eye. I should have just committed right here the first time. Ooh, editing. Then it was time to trace the pattern out. I like to use wrapping paper because it has that convenient square grid on the back. And I use tiles as pattern weights usually. This method of tracing / recreating patterns is super easy and one of my favorites. It doesn't require any kind of cutting or any kind of mangling the original garment. You just pin around the edges of each pattern piece, and then you get to play connect the dots a little bit later. After tracing, it's time to cut out the pattern. Once that's all done, then you take the pattern pieces, mark them out on your fabric any way you want to. Some people like to baste, some people like to outline, some people just go straight to cutting. I don't feel that courageous, and I don't like it when the pattern slides around while I'm trying to cut, so I usually go for some chalk of some kind, like this little clicky pen. This pen is also refillable, which I do like. One thing about this drafting method is that you will need to add seam allowance where it's needed. I didn't add any at the armhole or the neckline because I knew I was going to finish those with bias tape. But anywhere where the two pieces were connecting, I went back and added a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once both pieces are traced, it's time to get down to cutting. This fabric is such a pain, and my scissors did not like it. They definitely needed to be sharpened after this. Now to do it all again for the front pieces. Trace and cut. So I'm going to change the structure of the vest a little bit because this fabric is just a little bit stretchy. And so instead of doing a closed one piece back, I cut it in 2 instead of doing 1 cut on the fold. And I'm gonna cut it over, fold it over, excuse me, add a little busk and some eyelets. Busk is a strong word, maybe just some zip ties, and have it lace shut. And I cut it a teeny bit smaller too, so that I didn't leave seam allowance here so that there is going to be a gap. That way I can kind of like wiggle it in and get it to be the size that I want it to be. So for this next section, I'm going to be using the twin needle because it's good for stretch fabrics. This is super easy to do. You just take 2 threads. I had a bobbin already threaded with the same green thread that's in there. Wind it through, thread it like normal, and then at the end it goes through 2 needles instead of 1. There it is. One thing I did not anticipate about this fabric is that the camera hates it, so apologies for the weird colors from here on out. And then when you sew with it, you get this nice even stitches on this side, and the other side is a little zigzag, so it'll stretch with the fabric. Doesn't do a great job all the time, as you can see here. And also, I forgot this about this fabric until I started sewing it. It's awful to sew, but this needle is actually doing a pretty good job comparatively. I mean, it's really thick and it's stretchy, so it's like hard to do, but that's what the double needle looks like. It's a lifesaver. I love this thing. I will say one good thing about this fabric is that I'm not going to have to do anything to finish it, so that's a bonus, because this is like, I mean, it's sort of like, I guess it's supposed to be fake suede, but it kind of is like really thin neoprene that has suede flavor. Now I'm just going in to cut out the front panel of the vest. It was 10 by 11 inches, and here I am so carefully counting because spatial reasoning is not my strong suit. So this little bit that I just sewed for that decorative front panel like I was talking about, it has a desire for it to flop over this way to make it look like this is the piece in front, but I want the seam to fold over this way to make it feel like this is the seam in front. And I can iron it, and that definitely will help it stay there, but it's not going to stay there forever because there's just going to be tension on this seam because of the stretch of the fabric. So I'm going to use a little decorative stitch here that has a little bit of stretch to it, but mostly just to tack it down so it stays on this side of the seam. And here's what that little leafy stitch looks like close up. Now I'm trimming down the zip ties to go into the boning channels. There are 3 boning channels, but you don't need to see all that. Eyelet holes are 1.5 inches apart down the length of the 2 back panels. These strips are going to be bias binding for the armholes, the bottom of the vest, and the neckline. These were my little buttons I had to choose from. I ended up going with some of the white ones and some of those little metal ones. These ones. So right now I'm making some threaded button loops for the vest, and I thought you might be interested to see how it looks. Wow, this camera's doing a good job. Basically what I do is I start over here, tie a little knot. Well, I start over here actually. Start over here, tie a little knot, bring it around, make like a little rainbow, and then I do a little like buttonhole stitch all the way around. I'll try and get some footage of me doing it. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but it is the way I do it. And it comes out finished looking something like this. So you got like a little hoop of, it almost looks like crochet around the thread, and that's what we'll stick the button through. Yeah, let me try and get a video of it for you. through again. Being sure that you're always doing it in the same direction, because if you change directions, it's going to get a weird twist to it. So, one more buttonhole, one more buttonhole. Okay, now for the latest problem that I have. Wait, this is the wrong piece of fabric. Okay, now for the latest problem that I've encountered. I think doing anything to these buttonholes is just going to make them even tinier and more impossible to put things through. So the idea of having a lacing back is going to be totally arbitrary, because this is the thing that's never going to change, and the buttons are what we're going to use to put it on. The other thing is I reinforced this piece with a bone and some cotton so it wouldn't be stretchy on the end here. So I guess I'm going to attach the buttons right here and just hope that it fits. I don't know. I didn't try this on or think about it. We'll see how it goes. Also, why do they make the little wires so hard to get out of these buttons? Like, I just want to use my button. Don't use my fingerprints to do something with my fingerprints. But do tell me a better way to get the wire out of these buttons than just prying them with my raw hand sewing fingers. I've enlisted my husband's help, because I got 5 of these to do, and ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I was willing to suffer, but somebody else was not. Okay, so I have this giant bag of random leather straps, so hopefully I can find something that fits. At this point, I'm tired and I don't really care that much anymore. So I finished the vest pretty late last night. I'm about to go over and film it, and we can talk a little bit about how it turned out. I'm pretty happy with it. There are some things that I might change. It's a little bit big. I think I should take it in on the side a smidge, but that's another project for a different day, and it's fine as it is. So, yeah, let's take a look. This honestly took way less time than I thought it was going to. I was sort of intimidated by it, and I see now that I had no reason to be. Pretty basic stuff. These are the buttons. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. I like this piece of clothing, even if it is a teensy bit big. I'm really happy with the width of the binding. I like a tiny bias tape. The burnout of this project really came with doing the lacing up the back. I fashioned out these little aglets made of wire to help punch it through a little bit better, but my hands were hurting by the time it was done. So I'm glad it's over. That way you don't have to worry about doing that with your hand.
Okay. Gonna turn that off.
No, it's gonna be... You ready?
3, 2. I stopped it. Okay, ready. 3, 2, 1.
No, you can't step on this. Can I put it on you again? Ready? Ta-da! So funny.